Hi, I'm Sandy Genovese, and today we are going to celebrate Easter. If you look here, I have an Easter banner, and it says happy, and then to separate the words, there's a carrot, and it's created out of Easter eggs. And the Easter eggs, if you look closely, maybe you can already figure this out. The Easter eggs I made with paint chips. We are talking free from the home improvement store. If you look at all the options on the table, down here you can see several different brands of paint in different sizes, depending on the eggs you wanted. Oh, I'm in love now with Bear paint. I tell you, if I paint anything, I'm using Bear, because look at the size of the paint chips that you get at the Bear Paint Center. So this is what I used in order to cut mine out. Now, in order to do that, because I'm going to hang them, here I'll start and I'll show you what I did. Here is one of the eggs, and I used a die cut. If you don't have a die cut, it's a very simple, it's an oval that has a little more point on one end, so it's an easy enough thing for you to make a pattern. Once you have the pattern or the die cut out all the different eggs and all the different colors, and then you want it to be able to drape over a ribbon or cord or twine. So you need paper that's got a fold in it. So I have just regular white construction paper. It's folded closed. And then I'm going to place the egg that I've cut out so that it overlaps the fold. I've traced around it with pencil. And when you go back and cut it out, what it gives you is the egg shape, but with the folded edge. Now, if you're using a die cut, you just take your folded paper, you put it against the blade of the die, and you pull it so that the tip of the blade is still exposed, and it will cut for you, leaving this folded edge. Now it's just a question of attaching each of the eggs that you've cut so that they sit right over the top. So I'll just take my adhesive and place it on the back of the egg, and then I do want it to line up. So I'm going to lay this flat so that I can see when it looks like I have it positioned so that it's directly over the top. Press down. At this point, you want to think about the message. Now, you can add the message after you place it on the cord, but I think it's a little easier to do it before. So if this was the first egg in the message and I wanted the H, you would take either stickers or more die cuts, and I'm just going to put adhesive once again on the back. When you have something small, like this letter H, using the backing left over, this was a sticker sheet and I've used all the stickers on it, rather than throw it away, I can use it because now my adhesive is not going to stick to this back ear sheet, which means I don't end up with a whole gummy mess of adhesive on my table, and I can just keep reusing this over and over. I'll use my tweezers so that my hands aren't in the way, and I'll go ahead and attach this. To create the first letter, you would go ahead and do, spell out the whole message. And then when it's time to drape it, I used this rainbow color cord because it sort of reminded me of Easter. And all I need to do, I'm going to drape it like so and place this inside. Now, if you want to be able to move it on the cord once you already have them all attached, then you only want your adhesive to be down here. If you want it to stay exactly where you place it, you want your adhesive to go all the way up. I wanted mine to stay put, so I'm going to just put some adhesive along the top, and I'll go ahead and do adhesive. You know you're going to do more adhesive than I do. And then I'm going to position the cord, and the adhesive is going to hold it nicely, and then bring this over, line it up, and close it up, and look at, you have the first letter. You just keep going. It's that easy to create the banner, so that if I hold this up, because I have mine so that they're, I can move this and they're not going to slide on along that cording. There's a couple of other choices that you could do. If you want, instead of using the Easter egg that's folded closed, you could go back and instead of using anything behind, just the egg itself, just punch 2 holes in the top, as you can see I've done here, and then thread ribbon through. And if you want to hold it in place, you would just put a little piece of Scotch tape or any adhesive on the back to hold it in place. And you could see how you could do it that way as well. If you don't have ribbon or cording, if you have baker's twine, that would work well also. Now in the middle, to separate the words, I used a carrot. It's simple, very simple to do. I was sitting in the doctor's office and I didn't have much in the way of supplies. So all I did was took some notebook paper and I just folded it in half so that it would be symmetrical, and then cut basically the carrot shape. When you open it up, once again, if it's going to drape like the eggs had to fold over the edge, my orange paper needs to be folded also. So it's folded, and I'm going to lay this down, and then all I would do is take my scissors, cut around it. I'll just real quickly cut this so you see what I mean, because it's important to note that you want to keep the folded edge intact. That is what is going to allow it to drape over the ribbon or over the silk cord or over the baker's twine. So when I come to the edge, I snip it off. And because I have that folded edge, it's going to feel like an Easter eggs. I then just added what looked like the top to the carrot. In fact, if I turn it over and show you the finished one, you can see I just used a little darker pen to add a little detail here, a little darker orange to add a little detail here. And the back side, all I did was just glue it to the back, because the back isn't going to show when it's sitting on display. So it just ends up like this. Now this is a cool way to make a little, this could be even a card or a banner for your house. If you're going to send it through the mail, you might need extra postage, because these paint chips, if I go ahead, it accordion closes nicely. So it's not difficult for me if you want to store it, for the next year and use it again. All of that is going to be easy. But when I take this, it will fit easily, and then I would just probably take the cord and wrap it. It fits into an envelope, but those bare paint chips, they're nice and thick. So look at how thick this envelope, it ends up being pretty thick. It probably would still go through the mail, but my guess is it's going to take some extra postage. So you want to check that out before you actually mail it to make sure it will get there. While you have these paint chips, as long as you're cutting them into eggs, there's some cool things you can do if you have kids and you want to practice any little drills, anything that they need to practice, basically. In fact, it's easiest if I just pull this out and show you. I've taken an egg and cut it into 2 pieces so that if they're practicing their numbers, they count 3 strawberries and they match it with the number 3. If they're practicing states and state capitals, they can put together that Austin is the capital of Texas. If they want to study and practicing their multiplication facts, if they're learning upper and lowercase letters, all of these, it's just a fun, simple, easy thing that you can do to make learning more fun at home for your kids as well. And then all of these loose pieces, they just fit into this little packet, which once again is just an envelope die cut, and all I did was cut a clear transparency so that your kids can see without even having to create a label that these are the Easter flashcard set. Who knew? Free paint chips would be the basis for such an extraordinary Easter banner. Remember, I love hearing your comments. Be sure to share us with your scrapbooking and your crafting friends. And if you want to, you can give us a like on Facebook. Also, don't forget to sign up for these free weekly videos. However, if you want access to all of the hundreds of past episodes, or if you want to be able to print an instruction sheet, then you might want to consider joining the Gold Club. Bye for now.